Stand up, New York Mets fans. Tonight and today, it's Mets home opener. The opposition, the Toronto Blue Jays. This will not be an easy one, as both teams have been starting off in varying directions. On the one hand, Toronto is off to a good start, winning 5 of their first 7. By contrast, even though compared to last year, the Mets starting 3-3 is a step up when compared to starting 1-5 after their first 6. It still leaves me with more questions than answers. Looking at the lineups, the Blue Jays send Bo Bichette, Vladdy Jr. at first, Santander, one of their free agency pickups from Baltimore, in left, Jimenez at second, Kirk on the plate, Springer, who they got from Houston, and center, Wagner at DH, Clement at third, and Rodon at first. By contrast, the Mets will start off with Francisco Lindor at short, Juan Soto at right, Pete Alonso at first, Brandon Miller left, Starling Marte DHing, Mark Vientos third, Louis Torrens behind the plate, Luis Angel Acuna at second, and Jose Siri at first in center. Close some of these out. 2, 3. Tyler McGill takes them out for the Mets, hoping to build off his success last Friday in Houston. He collides against Kevin Gausman for Toronto.
An era of Mets baseball for some reason. I'm looking forward to watching.
Mets in their traditional blue and white with blue pinstripes, blue Mets with orange outlines.
Home opener. He won a home opener here 2 years ago against Miami. You know, the thing about McGill is that he has just gotten better.
Since August of 24, McGill has thrown 7 times, 3 known starts, 2.25 ERA, and a 1.08 WHIP.
But the Mets have won every single game. So they hope to continue.
At least they started. St. Can't be said when he's in the bullpen.
Having spent the first week of the season at home, they went 5-2, won their last 4, including a sweep of the Washington Nationals. So they're off to a flying start. Well, they needed to get off to a better start. You know, they were in the postseason 2 seasons
and for tomorrow's
last year only won 70
home opener.
So they went from
4 former players will throw out the first pitches.
In the American League East. So they have a really good pitching staff.
Team franchise saves team, Mr. 400 saves, John Franco. Al Leiter was a vital part of those 98 to 2003 squads.
It takes 2 to feel the joy. Earn unlimited 2% cash back, 1% when you buy, and 1% as you pay with the Citi Double Cash Card. When you think about it,
Juan Lagares, who was one of their defensive outfielders for his gloves, and big, sexy Bartolo Colon.
It's the feeling we all eventually long to get back to.
no matter what took us away to begin. We know because at Delta we're travelers, just like you, which is why we try to make you feel at home long before you even get there.
Once we're here, I might have to switch sports. Panicking won't turn a pop-up into a home run. Just like stressing about tickets won't get us better seats. What about the unhinged prices? They're ridiculous fees. That's why I use Game Time. On Game Time, prices actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, even up to 60% off. And with the Game Time guarantee, I know our tickets are legit. It's Game Time.
Season start is presented by PNC Bank. All the Met fans. Stream every market live or on demand. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Drive around the Matrix presented by Audi. Streaking and struggling. Michael Conforto off to a great start for the 8-0 Dodgers. Wow, could you have guessed that the Rockies were 1-5 on the year? Best starters in ERA in baseball. Rookie Dylan Cruz off to a rough go for the Nationals, who just got swept by Toronto. Did you know that no team has ever started
Streaking and struggling. Streaking. Michael Conforto has a Dodger, a 368 batting average, and 1.237 OPS. And despite a 1-5 record, the Rockies have the best starter ERA. But on the flip side, the Nationals got swept, losing 5 of their first 6, and the Braves have lost their first 7.
Former Medocracy Man is off to a tremendous start in his first year in Toronto, and he's batting clean up behind Anthony Santander with 44 home runs
and Alejandro Cook, George Springer, Will Wagner, and Clement, and Albert Dash.
Rookie Alan Roden in right field. The only Blue Jay who got a positive reception from the Met fans, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It was more than positive. It was like, you can come here, we wouldn't mind. Of course, going to be a free agent.
It's a cloudy day in Flushing.
Reported from the Blue Jays was for 14 years and $500 million. Turned that down. Oh, I mean, Soto turned down 440 from the Nationals. That's what worked out for him. Like Guerrero, Soto, Guerrero's going to be a young free agent. He's 26.
Last season, compared to the rest of the team, Guerrero batted .323 to the team's .231, .396 on base to .303, .544 to .369 slugging, and .940 to .672 in OPS.
So is Bo Bichette for that matter. Toronto, he's off to a fast start. George Springer is off to a terrific start. Did you notice that Mr. Met put on a few pounds of muscle? Oh, he did. Off season, yeah. He is definitely jacked. Oh, ready for the season. This is that. He loves it. He's swole, as they say, Gary. Is that what they say?
No. No. Just no.
Put on about 30 pounds this off season. They asked him, was it because you were in the weight room? He said, no, he's living down in Louisiana. The food's really good. Right. Cosman, a Colorado kid who went to school down in Cajun country. That was all quite good.
Nearly packed house at City.
This is the right place for him. It's a bright light sky player. Right fielder, if you fans didn't know it, always plays catch with the bullpen catcher here at City Field.
Juan Soto breaks out.
The big board to get smaller stuff. Still the big one. City defense on the infield. Torres behind the plate. Acuna gets the start. It's third start for Acuna at second base. Of course, Vientos at third, Lindor with the gold. Alonso rounds it out at first. And out in the outfield, Jose Siri gets his fourth start in center field. A bit of surprise. Interrupted me. Very loud. You can go get him. Even without a horse, you can go get him. I can't talk over that horse. Is that a stallion? Stallion. It's a Remington. Conor McGill. The seventh start since he returned from the minor leagues last year. 2.25 to 69.
His last outing against Houston, gave up 1 run, 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 6, and for 70 pitches. His last week.
Start against the Blue Jays in September last year up at Rogers Center through 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 1 hit. Said with the MVP chance for Lindor when he was introduced today. Picked up where they left off last October. Bo Bichette leads off for the Blue Jays. He's off to a strong start.
And we're underway. First pitch is right over the plate. Strike 1 with a fastball.
Fastball and to pound the strike zone. Takes fastball inside.
That one's too far in. 1-1. Bichette so far 3 RBIs and a 310 batting average with a 754 OPS.
He was then off to a strong start in 2025. 9 hits.
Top of the order for me is where you got to be careful with Toronto. Low in the dirt on the curveball. 2-1.
Blue Jay offense hasn't turned on the power yet. Only 5 home runs so far this year, but they're leading the American League in doubles with 17.
2-1. Swung and a miss at a fastball that ran in on him. 2-2. Two. Okay, here's the 2-2. That's shot foul, and we'll do it again.
Something, a new wrinkle for McGill, Ron. It's called the Severino game plan. That's exactly what it is. Luis Severino, they made him throw that 2-seamer inside the righties, which opened up the lane for a slider away. Severino's off to a nice start in Sacramento. Next phase of his career. 2-2 to Bichette.
It's line toward third. Vientos picks it up on a hop, fires the first, 1 down. Vientos nearly got cast as a scapegoat last time out against Miami with a couple of boneheaded throws in plays he had that nearly cost the Mets the game. Here's Vladdy Jr. He's off to a bit of a rough patch this year for himself. That's chopped back to Vientos, scoops it up, fires the first, 2 down. Well, so far so good. Here's the free agent pickup from Baltimore, Anthony Santander.
44 home runs for Baltimore last year. Signed a $5 million. Spending the first 8 years of his career in Baltimore.
That's $18.2 million a year he gets. First pitch. Inside corner, just catches it, strike 1. Last year in 155 games, Santander 44-102 with an 814 OPS, but he only hit 235. 0-1 pitch. Top foul going back behind the plate, 0-2. Into the crowd, 0-2.
look elsewhere.
Can't blame them if they don't want to pay him that much. 0-2 pitch. Outside on the curve, on the slider, 1-2.
Santander has a home run and 3 career at-bats against McGill. That's really all McGill's given up against Toronto. That was Kansas Oriole. 0.52 ERA across 3.
0-2 pitch. Swings and misses a slider in the dirt. Strike 3. McGill gets out of there with about 11 pitches to his name.
That's kept the bat with no score.
We get where you're coming from. But travelers, just like
Want to lose 15 to 20% of your weight in a year? Try Insurance Checker to see if you're covered for GLP-1s for free. Waiting on hold. Just submit your insurance card and we'll take care of it. From over 100,000 members. Trusted Road to check their coverage and start losing weight. /insurance for a free insurance check.
who recorded over my game footage. I just love his voice. Coach, relax. I've got to say
Innovation changes everything. With one investment, you can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing carefully, read and consider.
Come on, damn it. Hold on a sec, folks. First pitch to Lindor. Ground ball. Base hit, but Lindor gets too greedy and he gets gunned down at second. And I don't think there's any way to dispute this. Hold on. And the crowd is saying he's safe.
Second base. Drop the swim technique on him. Missed the tag. Oh, yep. You're right. He's definitely safe.
And the call, is it overturned or is Lindor out?
To start a home opener. Bill Miller and Ron Culper are the crew chiefs in the replay center, and they'll make the determination. But Lindor, perhaps inspired by the sing-along.
What's the call, you
Gooks?
gooks? You morons.
Plan review presented by citizens making sense of the play.
Is he safe or out, you mofos?
Crew chief made the call at second base. The call's overturned. The runner.
He's safe. And Lindor has a leadoff double.
win the challenge, and Lindor with that as his first extra base hit of the season. You know, the swing move.
And here comes Soto. Soto was a nightmare as a Yankee for the Jays last year. Let's see how he does as a Met this year. Granted, as far as I know, this will be the only time Soto and the Mets will face the Jays. Again, as far as I know. That may not be the case. First pitch takes his fastball on the outside edge on one. For Soto, he's 50-50, but 12 at-bats have not counted due to the fact he's been walked. 0-1 pitch on the way. In the dirt, 1-1 with the slider.
I pulled up a discussion that Gossman had about Soto. He said that he just doesn't swing my split finger in the dirt. So it'll be interesting to see.
That was a split finger in the dirt.
What he's done a lot.
Lindor getting a lead off second. It's not a big one. Tried the backdoor slider, didn't catch. 2-1.
Gossman's asking home plate umpire Morales that ball down. Soto's played 35 games in this ballpark. He has an 11.75
2-1.
Now his first is a homestander. He takes that slider.
Takes a slider in, 2-2. I don't know why Lindor didn't swing it. Crew this team, Mike Milchowski at third, Gabe Morales at second, Doug Jennings the crew chief at second, and I didn't catch who was at first. 2-2 on the way. Here it comes. In the dirt, full count. Gossman trying to avoid walking, giving a 13th walk to Soto career lifetime, and trying to avoid a polar bear who was raking in the last game in Miami, over the series in Miami.
Gossman, 34 years old. Great years in Toronto. Sort of a down last year.
Payoff.
3-2.
That's chopped back. So fights a piece of that slider off, and it's foul. On the Met bench, Jesse Winker, Brett Bainey, Tyrone Taylor, and Sender, their backup catcher until Alvarez gets back. Stay off to Soto. That's popped up. Lindor's not going anywhere on that one. First down is a Met at City for Soto.
That was a battle. That was some work. And now Alonso.
Now let's see if Alonso can drive home Lindor. As I mentioned, Alonso raked in the last series in Miami with a grand slam on Monday. He got a game-tying 3-runner on Wednesday.
Particularly that last two doubles and a home run of that game, all clocked at 113 miles an hour or harder.
First pitch. Takes strike one on the fastball. Heat last year was trying too hard to pull the opposite direction, and it really screwed with his coordination with his mechanics last year. Takes one up high, 1-1. This is what he did Wednesday. This was the game tire. 1-1 to Alonso. Chase is one in the dirt. Low and in, out, 1-2. This is what Pete bid on once too often last season, which really killed his productivity last year. His worst season since 21. Most people don't count the COVID season of 20, and I don't blame them. 1-2. Going high. Alonso fouls it off.
1-2.
Offside goes
Right there,
middle
the
in.
high target from the catcher, Alejandro Kirk. They wanted that ball up. Remember, the Marlins wanted that with P2 in that final game, that final 3-game series, and they didn't get it up. They got it in the strike zone.
Nimmo waiting on deck. He had 2 homers in that series in his own right. Gosman turns for a disengagement to keep Lindor honest. In this situation, I don't think Lindor is going to take off, to be perfectly fair.
Gosman grew up in Colorado.
1-2 on the way.
Plays college baseball at LSU. 1-2 to Alonso.
He wants this one to right. It's deep. Playable. Broden back to the track to the wall. It's gone! The Polar Bear strikes again. Number 3 on the year for Alonso. That one hung up for a while, but he gets a 2-run bomb out of it. 2-0 Mets.
It's hard to pitch if you cannot get away with this pitch on Alonso. This is these outside corner, down, and he flicked it 375 feet. The wall has really been carrying in the early season. It sure has. And he
Caught it off the edge of the bat, but he flicked it enough to where it got over the fence.
He pulled, but his focus is in the right center field. It's 10 on Alonso in his first 22 events of the season. That 57
And Pete giving a curtain call to the fans in the early going of the year. First pitch to Nimmo with a strike. I missed it. There's the first city home run of 2020, field homer of 2025. Nimmo swings and misses a fastball, 0-2.
Something we've seen in the past. The right fielder looked like off the bat. You might have a play on that, and the next thing you know, he's rubbing up the new one. Mitchell, that's anybody. So it makes you consider what might be going on.
That's fouled off. We'll do it again.
More jumpy than it was last year. That Mets home run means City will donate $2,000 to no kid.
Shut up, MH.
1 in 5 kids in America. Safely in all 6 games so far this year, with 2 home runs in Miami.
Licks that one foul, and we'll do it again. Here's my question. What are the Mets going to use as their home run tool in the dugout now that Iglesias is gone and has taken OMG with him? That's fouled off to the opposite direction, and we'll do it again.
But during the regular season last year, he only 3 of 4 in the postseason went to the opposite field.
0-2 bounces into the dirt, 1-2. Marte waits on deck, and then Vientos waiting in the foxhole.
Charlie Marte hitting 5th in the order, waiting on deck. Hard-working inning already for Gosman. He's down only 1 out. He's about to his 20.
In the dirt again, 2-2.
Last Friday against his old team, the Orioles. And he was scheduled to pitch on Wednesday, but they decided to push him back. This series.
Maybe that's what's throwing his coordination off. I don't know. 2-2 pitch. Nimmo fouls it off again, and we'll do it again.
I think this is how the Mets offense wants to be all season long, just relentless from the get-go.
I'd rather take a more disciplined approach than an aggressive one. 2-2. That's shot foul. We'll do it one more time. Nimmo's making Gosman work for this out.
And your defense for the Blue Jays, you got Guerrero at first. He put a Gold Glove back in 22. It was only Gold Glove.
Center field. You got a 4-time All-Star in George Springer.
And a rookie in right, way outside on that slide, on that changeup, will full count. He's almost 24 pitches deep as Gosman and about to throw a payoff to Nimmo. And Nimmo is known for one thing, and that's B-O-B, double B's, base on balls. And he fouls off another one to the left, down the third baseline. We'll do it again.
This is not spring training where they can take you out and come back the next inning. No, I don't believe that's. We got them.
I'd say around 37, maybe 40,000 in attendance. Payoff pitch. Too high, ball 4. Nimmo's on with a walk. Vintage Nimmo at bat. And Pete Walker coming out to try to calm Gosman down and try to get him to throw a ball low in the dirt that Marte will just force into a double play spot.
29 other major league teams out there to talk to his veteran. Starting pitching is supposed to be one of the strengths of this team. Gosman has been good for a real long time, but as Gary said, strikeouts really came back to the pack last year. He had 3 consecutive seasons of over 200.
One of the first 15,000 fans.
Being one of the first 15 tomorrow night for a Juan Soto Players Pin giveaway. As long as they don't rain tomorrow in New York, in Queens.
In fact, Kevin Gosman led the American League in strikeouts. It was at 11.5 strikeouts per nine in 23, 0.1 last year. So he's starting Marte with Nimmo at first and 1 out.
Marte waits the pitch. Here it comes. And he swings and misses a slider, 0-1.
Marte's got great numbers against Gosman. That's why he's in the lineup today.
Marte 8 out of 13 against Gosman, 1 homer, 7 RBIs in his lifetime. Then again, these two haven't faced each other all that much. 0-1 pitch. Takes the slider that just catches the inside, 1-0-2. Howie, Gary, Keith, sit.
Looks like popsicle. It looks like the way they put it on, they're trying to tape over our mouths.
Or Ron. 1-2. That's too far out for Marte to chase.
Drones before. That's us. That's right. We're just droning.
Droning on and on.
The dirt, 2-2.
Splittered down. It's 2-2.
Doing the split finger. Marte doesn't even bite on it. Yantos on deck, and then it's Terrence waiting in the foxhole. For those wondering what the foxhole is, it's basically 2 places in the batting order behind the current hitter. Did he go? No, he did not. Full count. Question is, will Nimmo run? With 1 out, I don't think he will. And with 1 out in the inning, I'm not sure if he's going to risk it. That's to play it safe and not take off. I'll have to avoid a strike him out, throw him out possibility. Gosman checks him back. Nimmo's safe.
First inning. Too many pitches.
7 pitches in his first start against the Orioles. 6 innings, he allowed 3
Payoff pitch. Pitch number Marte line caught. Nimmo has to retreat. And he does. And does not. That a base running blunder costs the Mets, but they do get 2. This is why I didn't want Nimmo to run. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want Nimmo to take off on that pitch. But nonetheless, 2 runs, 2 hits, nobody stranded. One inning complete. Mets draw first blood. 2-0 New York.
When you think about it,
I'll be there when you wake up.
the trips the world takes are trips home. It's the feeling we all eventually long to get back to. No matter what took us away. Because at Delta we're travelers, just like you. Which is why we try to make you feel at home long.
Effects of Viagra, but faster. Sparks are designed to dissolve under the tongue to hit your bloodstream faster than traditional pills, with a dual-action formula to deliver a stronger boost. Rose Sparks contains the pill, which lasts longer in your system, so you're ready to go for up to 36 hours. Sparks hit faster and stronger to work longer. Say it with me. Faster, stronger.
This should work better. 1-1 for Miguel. 1-1 pitch. Swing and miss a slider. 1-2. This is from Jimenez. In the dirt, ricochets in the Torrens. 2-2. Brief injury timeout for Torrens. So I'm going to get that air filter cleaned out. No. Fouled off as it hit the dirt. Caught the bat. Torrent got caught hitting the hand with it. Mets entering today have the third lowest team ERL at 238 in the National League at 238. I wonder how low that is collectively. That's fouled down the first baseline. We'll do it again. Jimenez not giving up without a fight. He's going to go meet my sister. My mom. Great. Yeah. 2-2 from 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Sit down on the curve. Irving Menace. Here's Alejandro Kirk. Let's see what he's got. And he takes a fastball, strike 1. Kirk 6 out of 19 this year. Ground ball, chopper to Vientos, who bright baskets it, fires the first, 2 down. And now here comes a man who was pretty dangerous in his own right before he got in Houston, before he got shipped out to Toronto in free agency. George Springer. Outside on the fastball, 1-0. Too far out that slider, 2-0. 7 years with the Astros, Springer, a 270 hitter, 174 ribbies, 14 homers, 2017 MVP, 2019 pennant, 3-time All-Star. Ran the 2017 titles forever tainted. Strike one as he takes a slider, just catches the inside corner, lower inside. Goes way too far in with the sinker, 3-1. Go ahead. And he's going to drive this one to the left center gap. Siri can't get it. That's going to go all the way to the wall, and Springer is on third with a 2-out triple. First pitch low and out on the curveball. 1-0. I switched it to AC. Strike one. Two one, swing and a miss, 2-2. Two, and it goes in the dirt. Full count. I don't know why McGill is throwing so many breaking balls this inning. Ernie Clement waiting on deck. And Rodin is in the fox. Waits in the foxhole. He is waiting in the foxhole as McGill steps off. Off to check Springer back to third. That's fouled off and into the air and back behind the net. We'll do it again. Pay off. Too high and he walked him. If I'm Jeremy Hefner, I go out there to calm. If I'm either Louis Torrens, any of the infielders, or Jeremy Hefner, and it looks like it's going to be the lattermost case, I calm. on this ball game. All right. Last year, when you look at these two teams last year, it was pretty dichotomous. Toronto, after a pair of wildcard berths, plummeted to a 74-88 record, dead last in the AL. The Mets, on the other hand, after a near finishing close to the bottom of the barrel in 23, rebound to get to middle of the road in 24 and make the playoff cut on a Cinderella run that led them to the NLCS, where they crashed and burned at the hands of the Dodgers. First pitch to Clement. It's in the dirt. Bounces into the dirt. Ball one. How about throwing the heaters, Ty? These breakers are not cutting it. Hit you dumbass. 1-0 pitch. Clement pops it up. It's hooking towards foul territory. Shallow ground. Alonso calling everyone off, and he's got it. And Miguel gets around a 2-round triple and a 2-out walk. And the Jays strand 2. For those wondering how you're hearing the game, if I'm not watching it through this, mostly using Game Day instead of the watch along, as to avoid getting hit with a copyright flag and getting my channel shut down, I'm using my iPad. Can't show it and I can't show that for obvious reasons. I'm sure you can understand that, folks. First pitch is a ball. To Mark Vientos, who has been struggling right out of the box. 0-1 pitch. Slider misses outside. 2-0. Strike one as Vientos doesn't even bother taking a cut at a low and in fastball. 2-1 pitch. Chop foul. 2-2. Think so. Full count. Now pinch. Vientos flies this one to center. It's deep, but it's playable. Caught by Springer, one down. Here's Luis Torrens. Takes one inside, ball one. One pitch. There you go. Yes, not that it mattered. It was in enough to where it would have been a strike anyway, 1-1. 1-1 pitch. That's low, 2-1. Oh, it's low. Swings 3-0, and that's a low fly ball, left center. And Springer catches it. I would have just taken the red light on that one if I was Louie. Here's Luis Angel Acuna. Predominantly has been used as a pinch runner in most situations he's been called up. But with the injury to Jeff McNeil, they're going to need him as much as possible until McNeil recovers. He is able to recover. First pitch on his way. And Acuna fouls it off down the first baseline, 0-1. Fouls it off again, 0-2. Siri waits in the foxhole. 1-2. Siri off.
I don't know where you are.
Siri off.
Go to private.
2-2. Acuna pops it up, shallow right. Jimenez is under it. And after a rough start in the first, Gausman gets a 1-2-3 second. Two innings complete. 2-0 Mets.
ups, downs, and ups again. When you need money for some of life's necessities, now your home can pay you back. Let us show you how you can access $45,000 or more. Give us a call or visit us online at loandepot.com today. Here are Connor and Joe's early thoughts on the starting rotation, bullpen, and lineup. First covers it on the latest episode of That's Pod, presented by Tri-State Cadillac. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Joe, they're all over it. Now the road, the rookie.
Alron grounds one. Alonso gonna have to fire it to McGill, and he gets there in time. One down.
I always felt when I had a ball in the hole and it was at a right angle, I'm throwing almost to the pitcher, but with the baseline from first to second, is that my eyes told me to throw it here, and I would say, okay, that is an optical illusion to throw it 5 feet in front of him further, and it works. Wow. Yep. That's experience. You learn those things.
Ball one to Bo Bichette as Miguel now goes through his second time in the batting order.
Name it to Maynard over the middle. Here's Bo Bichette, and it takes outside 2-0. Bichette grounded out to third
2-0.
base his first time up. Never forget his dad. Opening day, Coors Field, 1995. First game ever at Coors Field.
2-0 pitch. Swing and miss, and it goes out of the hand. 2-1. Only got a piece of it. 2-1. And of course, there was snow the next day, which led to a postponement and a double dip. 2-2, 2-1. Swing and a miss on one over the middle. Eyeing over the middle. 2-2. Yeah, last inning, McGill tried to get too cute. He tried to be too fancy. That's fouled off. We'll do it again.
I mean, when you pitched, how many guys threw 4-seamers and 2-seamers regularly? Is that a rarity? I would say it's a rarity.
Don't ask why the Mets are having this game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 2-2 pitch. Takes it. Strike 3. Fastball low and just catches the center edge. But now here comes Vladdy Guerrero Jr. That's K number 3 for Tyler. Really not a fan. I mean, compared to the last City Connects, these new ones may be a step up. But the Mets fans are dawning, but I'm not sure about him. First pitch. High and out. 1-0. Guerrero grounded down his last at bat. Lines one in the center. Siri will have to play this on a hop, and it's going to hold Guerrero to a single. Went back to the breaker. Stayed too far inside on the too far in the zone. Guerrero got the edge of the barrel on it and nailed it into the out and got it in the left center for a hit. Not deep as where Springer got his, but deep enough to where he could, but at least get him on base. Foul ball by Santander, 0-1. As he got a piece of a fastball that was in on him, had to fight that one off. Slider to the back, 1-1. He doesn't catch the out, doesn't catch it. 1-1. In March and April, McGill has got 2.76 ERA and an 8-2 record, or in 12 starts. 2-1. Popped up. Who's going to get it? Vientos or Angel Acuna. It's going to be Vientos, and that ends the inning. So 1 hit given up, not much damage. Two and a half complete, still 2-0 New York.
With Mochi Health, I've lost 30 pounds. I have no desire to be skinny. I love being a plus size girl. I just wanted to be healthier for me. When my grandmother died, I knew that diabetes was hereditary. That was my wake up call. For these medications, they are designed for long term use. With Mochi Health, I never feel alone. It's about progress, not perfection. I've lost 30 pounds and I'm more of me. Check out joinmochi.com.
This year, I'm trying to ace my college bets on FanDuel. So I'm here with somebody smarter than any professor I ever had. What's up, Chuck GPT? What's up, Chuck? What do you think about this parlay? It's great. Well, why don't you use me for something you really need help with? What does Charles Barkley really need help with? Uh-oh, pronounce it alma mater. What? Remember that there's no East Virginia? Conflict resolution? Free throw percentage? New customers pay $5 to get only pay for what you need.
And we're back. Jose Siri will get his first crack at Gosman. Let's see what he does. First pitch on the way, and he takes one, strike one over the plate, strike one, doesn't even bother to chase it. Siri's glove has been more valuable than his bat. Siri off. Popped up, shallow right. Roden loses his cap, chases after it, but he's got it. One down. Lindor had a single on an out, turned into a double, and then he scored on the Alonso long bomb. His last at bat. But he's still having his traditional Reggie Gigas level slow starts. He's only had 3 hits so far this year. In 21 at bats. First pitch, take strike one. This is what happened in the first. Ball one in the dirt. Foul that off. 1-2. One, two. Fouled it off down the left field line. We'll do it again.
songs of all time.
Roller off the foot of Gosman. Bichette behind the bag. Fires to Vladdy G. 2 down.
Crossman from the beginning is now set down 6 of 4. Soto the second at bat.
Soto popped up in his last at bat.
Soto popped up his first time up. Juan has drawn 6 walks. He's got his on base percentage almost to 400. He hasn't quite looked himself yet.
Chases one high and just catches it. Strike one.
Just kind of pull. He leans back when he swings. Sometimes he flies that shoulder open too quick.
In the dirt, low and out, 1-1.
Swinging splitter.
Why Gosman keeps throwing that splitter if they're not
Soto
fighting, I'll never understand.
That's up 2-0.
1-1 pitch. Grounder to first. Vlad Jr. will scoop it up. Fire it to Gosman, and that ends the inning. Mets go down 1-2-3 again. Mets have been 7 straight. Have been. Gosman's retired 7 straight since the 2-run bomb. 3 innings complete. 2-0 Mets.
Buying a car is kind of a big deal, and you deserve something you love. Because it's where big life things happen, and little ones too. This is your car, and sometimes your office. Oh, it's okay. We're good. You're going big places. Wait, where are you going? At Car Gurus, we get it. It's the #1 most visited car shopping site. The biggest selection of cars. We make sure your big deal is the best deal.
Jays will send Jimenez, Burke, and Springer the same setup.
Protein instant oil is there for active mornings. Friendly competition. At Gurus. Quaker. Bring it good. Silverado Trick Boss. And up to 495 pound-feet of available torque. And
We should stop now.
last September, we lost Mets icon Ed Kramer, who played in more games than anybody in Mets history.
A part of the 79 squad.
1969 championship team, 1973 National Championship team. Such a piece of the fabric of this Mets franchise. 17-year-old out of high school in the Bronx. 7 this year. Commemorating
Part of the
his life.
first 18 years of the team from 62 to 79
His teammates.
before he decided to hang it up.
Yes, was of course a teammate on that 1969 Miracle Mets team, but also a lifelong.
There's Art Shamsky, played 4 years with the Mets from 68 to 71.
To be back here opening day of the festivities, but a day with them the first time. Yeah, and he was such a great friend of mine and so many great memories.
The Gill first pitch is a fastball that misses the the low inside corner. Ball 1.
We lost 5 guys on that team last year, and just a tough day. But I'm with Eddie's family and reminiscing, telling some fun stories. But Eddie was a terrific friend of mine. And
1-1 as Jimenez just takes one over the plate.
so many appearances together. I told a story that I think people really loved Eddie because not so much for statistics, but because he was from New York.
1-1 pitch.
Real big Met bonus.
Chopper down the first base line. Alonso will scoop it up. Step on the bag. 1 down. Other games going on. It's now 8-5 in Boston in favor of the Sox. Bottom 6. Cubs up on the Pods 3-1. Looking to give the Friars their first loss of the year. Padres go into this game in Chicago at 7-0. Later on tonight, the Dodgers, who are 8-0, look to take down the Philadelphia Phillies. Yankees and Pirates will pitch in about to get started. Max Fried against Mitch Keller. Mariners against the Giants. Louis Castillo against Justin Verlander. Ball one. Then at 6:45, Jordan Yamamoto will pitch against Luzardo in Philly. 1-0 pitch on the way. Takes the fastball, 1-1. Brandon Pfaadt will pitch for the Diamondbacks later tonight. He takes on Josiah Irwin for the Nationals. The Marlins go to face the hapless Braves. That one nearly hit. Check of the swing by Kirk, 2-1. Schwellenbach and Kirk calls timeout. Outside, 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 pitch. And Kirk pops it up. And Terens will lean in the fairground to catch it. 2 down. And now here comes the man who basically has rattled Miguel. George Springer. Last at bat, he got on with a triple. Granted, he didn't get home because Clement popped out in the second. But still, this is one where you can't get fancy. You got to get Springer head on. He may be 35 years old. He may not be a spring chicken, but he's still got that speed on the base pass. First pitch. He takes ball one. He's also still got a bit of power. He's still got plate discipline. Except with Springer. Ball two. Gets McGill, and he gets Springer to foul that one off, 2-1. That's hit to left to center. Jose under it. Right center, actually. And that ends the inning. Miguel gets his first 1-2-3 inning since the first. 3.5 complete, 2-0 Mets. For those wondering how I spent the day in the beginning of my day, well, prep time on a rice dish from my cookbook, specifically nasi goreng, which is basically the Indonesian version of fried rice.
That's because CDW designed and built a solution with Cisco security. End-to-end protection defends against attacks and makes better decisions in real time. So warehouse and customer data stay protected every step of the way.
Basically, you take some rice, boil in some water, chop up some onions and some meat, fry them up, then dump the rice into the fry job, Then you make a little crevice in the middle, crack open some eggs, and a couple of eggs, and then partially scramble them from under a low heat. Neil Alonso leads off the net fourth. Here's the homer he got. He just flicked it off the edge of the bat, and it just carried right where Rodon couldn't get it. First pitch in the dirt, ball one. Ball two. That's an obscure Met. Too bad we shipped Buck out midway at the deadline that year. Gossman behind, 2-0 pitch on its way. Takes a curveball, 2-1. Oh, split finger, excuse me. That's fouled off on the fastball, 2-2. Two pitch. Full count as that one just rises a bit too high and out. He grounds this one to third. Clement fires, got it. Got him, one down. And that's now 8 in a row retired by Gosman. Night game tomorrow night, day game tomorrow on Sunday, then 3 with Miami, then it's off for 3 in Sacramento. Nimmo drives this one to right, but it's playable. Rode it under it, and he'll make the catch. Chris Batson and Griffin Canning tomorrow night, and then Belden Francis against David Peterson on Sunday afternoon. Again, dependent on if it rains heavy enough to where both games. If it doesn't rain heavy enough where both games get scrapped. Oh, God, it's smaller. Marte takes ball one. If you ask me, since the double play, the Mets haven't really been able to recover any momentum at this point. That's fouled off, 1-1. Because they basically gift wrapped it a pair of outs to Gossman in the bottom half of the first after the Alonso bomb. 2-1. Marte lines this one to right field. It's shallow, and Rudden's got it again. And now that's 10 in a row retired by Gossman, but still 2-0 Mets. So after the first inning, he is moving them up back to split. A little better split.
The effects of Viagra, but faster. Sparks are designed to dissolve under the tongue to hit your bloodstream faster than traditional pills, with a dual-action formula to deliver a stronger boost. Most Sparks contains an allodone, which lasts longer in your system, so you're ready to go for up to 36 hours. Sparks hit faster if Row Sparks are right for you at row.co/switch.
Too bad they don't tell you the truth about Honey Nut Cheerios, how there's actually a chemical in there that actually kills your heart rate more than helps it. In other words, they're lying about how heart healthy, quote unquote, Cheerios is. I know. Assassins are meant to be silent and precise. They don't go across the rooftop announcing conspiracy to any passerbys. We go to the fifth inning. The Jays will have Wagner, Clement, and Roden. Billy Wagner Jr., or Will Wagner, leads off. And he fouls that one to the backstop, 0-1. And one of them almost proved pretty costly, I might want to point out. Takes strike 2 on the split on the curveball, on the slider. That was McGill's 60th pitch. Bounces one in, 1-2. A-B. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's K number 4 from McGill. He got him with the curveball. Oh. First pitch to Clement. In the air to the left, it's playable for Nimmo. 2 down. Tyler McGill, 29 years old, last Mets pitch to record a hit prior to the universal DH rule being implemented in 2022. 8th round pick in the 2018 draft for the Mets. I understand why they removed pitchers across the board from the batting order. Ball one, by the way. I'm just not a fan of it. That basically takes away pitchers' versatility. I mean, think of guys like Mike Hampton, to a lesser extent, Doc Gooden, Shohei. That's fouled off, 1-1. DeGrom, Syndergaard. That's driven to center. Jose under it, and he got it. Halfway home, 2-0 Mets still. Mets will send out Vientos, Torrens, and Acuna to the plate. We're through 4.5. New York 2, Toronto 0. Let's see if the Mets can add something to it, because I'm going to get pretty bored pretty quick if this score holds up. And keep in mind, this is my first Met call of the new season. I'll be back in about on call in 15 days when they play St. Louis on Fox. And then from there, I'll have to space out and figure out which way to go with each game call for the rest of the year. And I mean, from then on out, yeah, I could do a slew of the Fox Saturday baseball games, but there are select ones I'm going to have to skip. Namely, the game between the Mets and Dodgers on May 24th, because I'm going to be in Raleigh. For an amazement again, once more for an amazement this year. Joke. On fifth, here's Vientos. He takes one low, ball one. Ball two. Whatever game I'll get on the 28th, 8th of June, whether that's Philly, Atlanta, or Chicago against Cubs against Houston. 2-0 pitch. That's fouled off by Vientos, 2-1.
Padres 7-0 start is in jeopardy. They're down 3-1 for the Cubs. Rockies home run 37 degrees of game time. Rockies and A's.
Off the fifth. Springer has to come in to get it. He was going too far back, but he'll make the catch. That's 11 in a row. Mets are retired now by Kevin Gossman. Luis Sorrento up next. 72. This will be pitch 72, and it's in too far and tight. Ball one. That's fouled off. Swing and a miss. 1-2. One-two pitch. Fouled off. 1-2. That's fouled off again. We'll do it one more time. Two and two. That one was in the dirt. Gary, no. Do not come out of that broadcast booth and into that dugout. 2 pitch. Boltzmann. Clement's got it. 2. Wide throw, but Vladdy is able to tag Torrance. 2 down.
Nice hop for Clement. Throw towards it to the runner. Out by Miles. So that's 12 in a row. Retired by Dawson.
Now Luis and Acuña's up. That's fouled off. And again, that line out double play is at this point in time, the Mets have not been able to recover any momentum. Which is why I said don't send Nimmo on the full count in the first against with Marte. And what they do, they sent him, and he got doubled off. 0-2. Driven to center. Springer, right center. Springer's under it. And that ends the inning again. Another 1-2-3 inning. Still 2-0 Mets. Neither side really gaining a lot of sufficient momentum. Come through 5. Blue Jays will send Rodin, Bichette, and Guerrero Jr. The only other J, aside from George Springer, has done significant damage, i.e. getting a hit.
This is a landfill, or this? WM is transformed what you think of as landfills into engineering marvels that can generate energy while helping protect the natural environment. Learn more about our modern landfills and how WM is always working for a sustainable tomorrow at wm.com/stories.
I'll take it easy on you guys. Whatever.
Yeah, you had no chance of getting out of the infield anyway. Last time you gave me something to hit, I took your team. Here.
What was that? That's not fair. I wasn't even ready.
Save it, Junior. I'll give you something to hit.
All of the big moment. The big moment doesn't start with the big result. It starts the yard work. Because the big moment is to block when you need it stop. With service so good.
First pitch to Bichette, I thought strike 1. I forgot Rodon was out last inning, so it's the top of the order of the Blue Jays that McGill is facing. My apologies. 0-1. Fouled off the foot. White Sox fall to the Tigers 7-4. It's now 9-6 in Boston in favor of the Sox over the St. Louis Cardinals. Padres are 3 outs away of having their 7-0 streak season end. Tie 1 in Colorado between the A's and the Rockies. 1-2 pitch. High and out, 1-2. That's foul. Most of the pitches Miguel has thrown lean more towards his slider today. 35% of it. A third of his four-seamer, a fifth to his two-seamer, and about a ninth or so to his curveball. Put to third, caught by Vientos on the liner. One down. In the meantime, hear the velvety tones of Gary and Keith. I gotta take a piss.
Into center field his last time up 1-2 on the day. He holds that bat up his ear, reminds me so much of his dad. Well, he's as aggressive as his dad as well. His dad was a better bat ball hitter, but he does not strike out, and he is so aggressive. He's going to put the first 3 or 4 balls in play. That's what he's trying to do. Very body type. Yeah. He's much taller and leaner. That long leg. What's that? Here that is so familiar. What's the number 27, which is the number that Vladdy wore for most of his career. He's one of the greats of all time. Best arms in right field, and all that incredible offensive ability.
0-1. Took a swing and a miss. 0-2. That one is outside. 1-2.
Mention is McGill's third time around the order. Take a look at a great throw shot of City Field. Pitcher King Price third time around the order. McGill was great last year. He got to face opposing lineup the
2-2.
third time. They batted just 173 against him third time.
Gary, don't fucking jinx it, please.
We talk about
I really hate when commentators jinx things like that.
some of them
2-2.
strong stuff like the games. James is one of those.
Getting too fancy with that changeup. Full count. Just get him to chase. Because Guerrero is too disciplined to go outside on a payoff. And he walked him, like I thought. Something happened on that pitch. If you're Mendoza, you either get a bullpen arm up, whether it's Reed Garrett, Oscar Brazabon, not Danny Young, you motherfucker. Especially if Santander gets one over that fence. That's 5 balls in a row thrown by Miguel, and they got Garrett warming up. Ball 2, and now that's 6 in a row that have been balls thrown by Miguel. Usually when he gets like this, something is up. Please give him the hook, you dumbass. And this is one of the major issues I've criticized Carlos Mendoza for. Gambling with pitchers and putting relievers in situations where they need to be clutch instead of giving them an easy go. This was something he got in a lot of trouble with last year. That's fouled off, so it's the first pitch in 7. Duran's coming towards the screen. That's going to go over it. 3-1.
Seats where Steve used to sit, right there. Oh, I see. seat right there. That used to be where Steve sat. Where do they push Steve to? That one. The line is further out. I think the further side of the Steve was not paying as much of a premium for his seat as those folks are. 3-1 coming.
Too high, ball 4, and now the go-ahead run comes to the plate. McGill needs to be given the hook here and now. But knowing Mendoza, what do I accuse him of? Being a damn gambler with his pitching core. Lorenz going out to calm, infield going in to calm McGill down after back-to-back walks with 1-out walks. Jimenez up next. This will whether he gets out of the inning or not, this is basically going to be Tyler's last inning. And he's out of the game. Here comes Reed Garrett. And I again question this. To me, this is gambling. Reed Garrett coming out in a situation where last year he mostly fell apart when he was put in a situation where he had to play damage control. If you saw any of the games where the Mets put him in that situation, where they were up by a small number of runs, Garrett had to come in as damage control and he couldn't get the job done, then you know what I'm talking about. Some of them I even called one or two of them I even called myself. And I've always been critical of the decisions to pitcher gamble by Carlos Mendoza. Whether it was that game against the Phillies where they blew a 4-0 lead, the game against Miami where defensive miscues and pitcher gambling hit him in. The game where they blew a 6 San Francisco last weekend. Because he chose to gamble on pitchers and get the job done. Which led to the bullpen getting overtaxed. Which led to the bullpen getting overtaxed and wasting quality starts. But let's see what Garrett does. Reed Garrett, 2 games, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 2 1/3. He's going to need a double play ball, and he's going to need it badly. That's at the second lowest bullpen ERA. And he gets strike 1. 1 on a sinker. On the cut. And for his sake, he better. I'm referring to McGill's, not Garrett's. That's fouled off 0-2. Alejandro Kirk waits in the wings. And in the foxhole, George Springer. And Jimenez holds up on the split finger, 1-2. One, two. That was close, but he didn't. Got him swinging at the splitter that time. 2 down. First pitch. Swings at a cut. 0-1. No soup for these two motherfuckers. Jerry Seinfeld and Matthew Broderick, for those wondering. Oh, one pitch. Splitter into the backstop. Guerrero and Santander move to get to second and third on a wild pitch. This is not what the Mets needed. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Come on, Reed. One more. 1-2 pitch. Looks like the splitter set up. Got him swinging. The Mets get out of the jam. Pair of walks compensated by a pair of back-to-back strikeouts after McGill is given the hook. McGill's stat line is over. Garrett mitigates and prevents the damage. But the Mets survived their biggest scare of the game. No runs, 2 walks, 2 stranded, through 5.5. 2-0 New York.
Give Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep sale. Save up to $600 on Sealy and get a free adjustable base. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night.
Question is now, if Kevin Gausman's done for the day against Jose Siri, Francisco Lindor, and Juan Soto, would he ascend to the mound for Toronto to start the 6th? And you do the Jays, do the Met half of the 6th. Let's see. I mean, yeah, you could leave Gausman in there as he's retired 13 in a row since the first, but is it worth the risk? He's thrown 81 pitches. I think now, if you're the manager, is a good time to get him out. I mean, to pull him. But he's still punishing himself for the goof ups of those 2 back-to-back walks that almost came home and tied the game had not Lee Garrett limited play damage control. First pitch to Siri. They're going to keep Gausman out as Siri fouls that one to the backstop. Siri off. 0-1. That's fly ball, sharp center. Springer going back to the track, to the wall. He's got it. Of course, even if he lowers his hand, and even the slightest bit, he would have been able to catch it either way. Lindor up next. Again, the question is, even if Gausman gets out of this inning, you keep him in there despite the fact he's retired at this point 14 Mets in a row, and if he gets through this inning 60 in a row. In my view, the answer to that question is no, as Max Kranick warms up in the Met pen. Ball 2. Low and away, 3-0. I think if Gausman walks Lindor, he's done for the day. Rio pitch. And for the second time, Lindor is on base, this time on the walk. And it looks like Gausman's getting the hook after retiring 14 consecutive Mets after the first inning screw-ups. John Snyder's going to give him the hook. And Mason Fluharty is going to come on to pitch. It's for Toronto in the Met half of the sixth. 1 out, man on first. Call of the bullpen presented by this call of the bullpen presented by Nissan. And for those wondering, yes, I have been doing a little cooking off screen for the past 7 or 8 months, thanks to this. I got this at Mad Monster Expo in 2024, and I got it signed by Vincent's daughter, Victoria. The dishes I've done, Manhattan out of the book, Manhattan Vichyssoise. Creole potato salad. Potatoes with sour cream, Lyonnaise potatoes. Mulligatawny, Sardinian gnocchi, mulligatawny soup, Sardinian gnocchi, as I mentioned. Wilted spinach salad with bacon dressing. We're back. First pitch from Fluharty goes outside, ball 1. Most recently, Nasi Goreng. 1-0 to Soto. Here it comes. Lines one to right. That's going to go into the corner. Base hit. Lindor on his horse. He's heading for third, rounding around the back. He's going to score, and the Mets get an insurance run. It's 3-0. Soto with a 1-out double, and the Mets go up 3. First hit for the Mets since the Alonso bomb. And they're going to freebie, and they're going to give a lot. And judging by the sound of the Boo Birds, Fluharty's going to give Alonso the intentional pass. Can't blame him, to be fair. That's only Soto's third ribby as a Met. Brandon Nimmo up next. Nimmo flew out, walked, but then he got picked off on a line drive double play in the first, and he flew out in the third. He flew out in the fourth, actually, excuse me. First pitch. Drives one to right. That's 10 for the corner again. Base hit. That's going to get Soto home easily. Alonso will be held at third. It's an RBI double for Nimmo, and the Mets go up 4-0. Let's go! And Fluharty's going to get the hook after 3 batters. And here comes the man most Met fans are familiar with scorn, Jacob Barnes. Another call to the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Mets 4, Blue Jays nothing. Runners on second and third, and 1 out. So back-to-back doubles for the Mets. Double their lead. Pun not intended. Extra 26 will be on the switch too. Yeah, too bad the Braves have not been doing well this year. They've started the year losing each of their first 7. Their last loss was a walk-off loss to the Dodgers. Can the 2025 Braves rebound down from this shit start? Let's look at this coverage cam on the Soto double. First pitch to Marte, and he's going to take a strike, and he's going to cut and miss. Strike 1 from Barnes. No duck, Gary. But I blame that on Luis Rojas for being a fucking numbskull with the team. One pitch. Just missed. 2-1. Vientos waits on deck. 2-1 pitch is low. Marte doesn't take. 3-1. Mets 41-22 all time in their home openers, winning 4 of their last 5, losing though they lost last year to Milwaukee. Marte lines one to center. Springer makes the catch. That's going to allow Alonso to tag, and he'll get home. Marte's got an RBI on a sac fly. Nimmo goes to third. It's 5-0 Mets. Or rather, Nimmo holds Pat at second. Here's Vientos, who's had a very slow start this year. First pitch, up and out, 1-0. I do think Mark will rebound. Take strike one. Two and one. Vientos chops that one into the glove. 2-2.
First 6 games this year, hit just 146 with runners in scoring position. They're 2 for 3 today.
I don't know what that bumps the batting average with IRSPs into account. Full count now to the end. Terenz net would be next, and then Acuna awaits in the foxhole. And Acuna is waiting in the foxhole. And Angel Acuna waits in the foxhole. And Luis Angel Acuna waits in the foxhole. Payoff pick. And he pops it up. Bichette's under it, and that ends the inning. But not before the Mets add 3 to the total. We go to the 7th. Mets 5, Toronto nothing. So the Mets get 3 on 2 hits, a walk, and a sac fly, but they strand Nimmo at second. RBIs for Soto, Nimmo, and Marte. They're third, fourth, and second, respectively. Mets hoping to move into second place in the NL East tonight and today. While in return guards their division rivals, if I remember correctly, Miami is point. Who's Miami got this week? Who's Miami got this weekend? Let me double check. Well, this 7-0 season is over for San Diego as they fall to the Cubs 3-1. Oh, they get Atlanta tonight. Meyer against Schwellenbach. And of course, the Phillies get the Dodgers tonight. Jesus Luzardo takes on Yoshinobu Jordan Yamamoto. Mets are going to bring in A.J. Minter to pitch the 7th. Okay, I don't have an issue with him, but a former Brave, I smell a rat.
Your PNC Bank slow moments. Francisco Lindor with the evasive maneuver. The hustle double. Alonso a flick of the wrist for a 2-run homer, and Tyler McGill with the newly refined curveball.
Aww. First pitch from Minter. And it goes too far in on Springer. Ball one. Springer tripled in the second, but he didn't get home, and he flew out in the fourth. 1-0 pitch. Two and 0. Minter and Young, the only two Mets to cough up any runs out of the bullpen. 2-0 pitch. Looped in the right field. That's going to fall for a leadoff hit for Toronto. This time it's a single, and now the Jays have got some cooking. First pitch. Didn't get take. Ball one. He takes strike one, just catching the inside corner on the upper part of the plate. 1-1. That's not until at least May or June. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 1-2. Minter sets. And he's going to throw to first to keep Springer honest. That's one disengagement. Ball two. That's not far enough for where Springer can take off.
Struck out two batters to strand two runners in the sixth, and now Minter picking it up in the seventh.
2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. That's K number 7. Of the day for the Met pitching core. Second strikeout by Wagner today. Here comes Clement. And he swings and misses at a splitter. Oh, it's a changeup. 1-0-1. He better not be like Tommy Canley. That's driven to left, and that one's gone. There goes the shutout. That's a foul ball. That's a foul ball. Dumbasses. Oh, come on. You're going to replay? That's a damn foul ball. That's clearly a foul ball, you dumbass umps. That's clearly a foul ball. Get Springer back on first and put Clement back to the plate, you dumbass. You sons of... Thank you. 1 and 2. Dumbasses. Swear, sooner or later the human element will be removed from baseball. I can feel it in my bones with dumb calls like the 2 dumb calls we've seen today in this one. Swung on and missed. He's not surviving that one. Strike 3. And it looks like there's going to be a pinch hitter. It's Davis Schneider. Interesting. The son of John Schneider. Miss on the fastball, 0-1. Ball 1. Oh, it's Davis Schneider. Okay. Strike 1. Stanek warming up in the Met bullpen. Please do not go to game. In the dirt, 2-1. Springer not taking off. Two 1 pitch. Too high. 3-1. That's fouled down the third base line. Full count. That's fouled off. He wants the righty, the vile thing, the grab your throat and choke thing. Seriously, Gary Cohen, you referenced Major League. Payoff pitch on the way from Minter. Here it comes. Got him looking. We go to the stretch. Mets dodge a bullet in the form of a botched foul ball call and work around the Springer leadoff hit. Time to stretch. Mets 5, Blue Jays nothing. Why am I getting a Cubs commercial for a Mets game? Don't get me wrong. I like the Chicago Cubs, mostly because it's the lovable loser mentality similar to the Mets. And it was also the other reason I like the Cubs is because for the first 15 or so years that I lived down here, I could pick up Cubs games before WGN cut the feed and basically localized it to the entirety of the state of Illinois and the western parts of Indiana before they got their plug pulled and turned to the Marquee Sports Network. Before NBC Sports started using them and the White Sox, and they got their own independent station in 2022, known as the Marquee Sports Network, while occasionally airing on WABC 7 Chi-Town. On ABC 7 on the Chicago ABC 7 network. That he is. I mean, it's quite clear that the Marlins missed Sandy Alcantara last year with him going under the knife due to Tommy Johns. He was Tommy John. He was one of many pitchers last year that had to be put under the knife. And they had to go under the knife. And when I say the knife, I don't mean across the throat. I mean into the arm for surgery. Take me out to the crowd, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the Mets. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Schneider will remain the game in right, in left. Schneider gets moved to right. And Schneider will get moved to right. And Schneider will move to right, will stay in the game in left, while Santander gets moved to his more comfortable spot in right, as it'll be Terrence, Acuna, and Jose Siri leading off and due up for the Mets. So Rodon's day is done, and I figured a double switch was coming. A defensive double switch was coming in that regard. First pitch to Terrence, strike one from Barnes. 0-1. Didn't even bother chasing one right over the middle. Terrence drives this one to deep right field. It's carrying. Springer backpedals. It's playable. Catches it at the edge of the track. 1 down. First pitch is a cut fastball to Luis Acuna, who's flown out twice. Both pretty shallow flyouts in Acuna's case. Ball 1. Again, both were pretty shallow flyouts. Takes a cutter and he missed it. 1-1. I'm so glad the WWE is back in the U.S., back in the States between now and WrestleMania. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, 1-2. It's been all cutters so far in this inning from Barnes. I really hope the Jays are not trying to turn him into Tommy Kahnle, i.e. only having him rely on one fucking pitch. With Kahnle, it's a changeup. And this series of at-bats, it seems like it's the cut ball for Barnes as he bounces that one into the dirt, 2-2. Will it be a cut fastball again? And the answer to that question is no, it's a slider. 3-2. Gary, please don't fucking jinx it. Payoff pitch. And there's the first Mets strikeout of the game. Luis Acuna chases one. What did he chase? Oh, it was a slider. It was a cut. It was another cut. Motherfucker. He's just going to spam that cut fastball against these weaker hitters. Jose Siri up next. And it's another cutter, strike one. So 6 of the last 7 he's thrown have been cut fastballs. That one's upstairs, 1-1. Four-seamer. Swing and miss a fastball. A slider. One that didn't even cut out. Break. 1-2. Max Kranick getting ready as a setup. One, two. Fly ball to shallow right field. Santander comes on, and that ends the inning. 1-2-3 inning for Barnes as he goes 1 1/3. As he pitches 1 2/3, giving up nothing. Through 7, Mets 5, Blue Jays 0. And for those wondering why I chose orange instead of blue, well, it's simple. Blue Jays also wear blue. I can't do it. So I had to switch to orange. And so I had to switch to the orange. It's the same thing if I hypothetically wanted to do a Knicks game alongside Man Cave or asked him if he wanted to do it on my station. If the Knicks were playing someone like the Nuggets, the Pacers, the 76ers, the Timberwolves, the Mavericks, the Clippers. You get the picture. I have to switch to the orange. Kranick coming in to replace Minter. He'll face the top of the Blue Jays order, that being Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Anthony Santander. Mets looking for their first 2-game winning streak of the year. 6 outs away from getting it. Max Kranick, Tuesday, didn't get a decision. 3 innings pitched. First pitch. And he goes way outside. Ball 1. 1 to start the 8th. Yeah, he's got butterflies in his stomach the size of fucking eagles. That's foul to the backstop. 1-1. I guess that means Stack will come in the ninth. That's pop foul, and is that going to get caught? Nope, that's going over the Blue Jay. Got to play into the seats behind the Blue Jay dugout. Fouled off again by Bichette. Still 1-2. Ow. 2-2. Blue Jays have struck out 8 times, so the Mets only having struck out twice so far. 2-2 pitch on the way. Here it comes. Bichette chases one in the dirt. Strike 3. 1 down. Or 10 pitch case for Mets pitching collectively. Miguel has had 4. First one. Garrett had 2. 3 for Minter. Here's Vladdy Jr. Ball 1. He struck out 6. Frank throws one right over the plate, and Guerrero doesn't offer it the ball. Doesn't offer it a cookie. 1-1. That's fouled back. 1-2. Good question. That's line to left. Nimmo will have to cut it off. Base hit for Guerrero. He bobbles it, but it's not far enough. But Nimmo gets it back in quickly, so Guerrero is held to a single. Ball 1. Santander is struck out. He's blown out, or more like a pop-up, and he walked back in the 7th, in the 6th, and then he got an advance to second on a wild pitch. But he didn't get home. Santander flies one to right. Is this going to stay in the park? Yes, and Soto's got it at the crack. 2 down. Guerrero retreats back to second. Here's Jimenez. Bounces one in. Ball 1. Guerrero's not taking off on that one. Jimenez is struck out twice, and he's grounded out. That's ironic. But whatever. Swing and miss at 1 up and in. 1-1. Jimenez started as a Met, got shipped out after the COVID year. He spent the next few in Cleveland. Now he's in next 3 or 4 in Cleveland. Now he's here in Toronto. 1-1 pitch. Chop foul. 1-2.
this Jays team, and you look at some of the talent that they have. Starting rotation, their bullpen should be better than it was last year. They've got a lot of offensive pieces who underperformed last year. They should be better than what they showed in 2024 when they won only 74 games.
That's for sure, Gary. 1-2 from Krennic. Chopper. Lindor going to step on the bag and get the force to end the inning. 7.5 down, 1.5 to go. Mets 5, Toronto nothing in the home opener for New York.
Try Insurance Check to see if you're covered for GLP-1s for free. No paperwork, no waiting on hold. Just submit your insurance card and we'll take care of the rest. Join the over 100,000 members who trusted Roe to check their coverage and start.
Oh,
Go to roe.co/insurance for free insurance check.
That starting rotation, it doesn't get better. Dominating the offense, take the ball as much as they can.
anyway, the other recipes I've done in this book. Greek lemon soup.
This is their chance for another run. This is their time. This is the Cubs division to lose.
Fried chicken with lemon rice.
He's one of the most talented ball players. What a stunt. Showed it in the noggin. It's about falling in love with him. This is when you put the pedal to the metal. I think we got a really good team. Since the dawn of baseball, players hold their unique skills.
And ham curl-ups.
Who from this era will prove worthy of legend? Top of the back order for the Mets in the bottom of the eighth. Looking to add to a 5-0 lead. Even ranking for Yariel Rodriguez takes over the pitching for the Jays. Francisco Lindor, a double and a walk. He scored 2 runs today.
First pitch to Lindor is upstairs, 1-0. Here's Yadiel Rodriguez. In 3 games, he's not been good. 4 runs coughed up, 5 hits, 3 innings pitched, 2 walks, struck out 4. Swing and a miss, 1-1 by Lindor. Lindor has doubled, scored twice, walked, and grounded into a 6-3 pitch. 1-1 pitch. Lindor fouls that one off. We'll do it again, 1-2. Well, this isn't a book that's used for good reference unless you're an Anglophile like Price is. I'd still say try some of these recipes out. Up and in, 2-2.
Scherzer is out. Dealing with a thumb injuries on the interplays.
2-2 pitch. In the dirt, full count.
To Lindor, 3-2. Well, you notice Lindor's bat. I just noticed now it is the torpedo bat.
We'll even get a chance to swing it.
Down there, just above the leg. More wood at the back part of the bat. Makes it even better.
He's not even going to get a chance to swing it. Ball 4. Second time today, Lindor's been walked. The third time he's gone on base. Here comes Juan Soto. Try to pick Lindor off. Doesn't. Lindor makes it back safely. That's one disengagement.
We've already done 20. 15 should be easy. I'm a little iffy on that one. There goes Lindor.
Lindor takes off the throw to second. He's safe. Ball one on, by the way. And that's Lindor's second stolen bag of the year. One 0 pitch. Soto grounds it back to the mound. Lindor caught a run down. What's he going to do? And he's out. Another base running blunder cost the Mets a run. This is why if it's a line drive or it bounces back to the pitcher, you stay fucking put. Alonso up next. He's walked, grounded out, and hit the two-run homer that started the scoring for the Mets. First pitch, Soto's taken off, and he's safe. Some of the Mets didn't do a lot of last year. They basically got run on a lot last year. Granted, Soto more known for his bat as opposed to his legs. 1-0 to Pete. Strike one as he just takes a fastball over the middle. When he broke Darryl Strawberry's rookie record in 2019, can he break the all-time team record that Strawberry has held for over 35 years? 2-1. Outside of the last two games. Alonso fouls that one off. 2-2. Two on the way. He hits this one, but he got it off the end of the bat. Santander's under it, 2 down. Here comes Nimmo. RBI double back in the sit in that 3-run six for the Mets. It and the 2-run bomb by the Polar Bear. The only runs the Mets have had, hit a double by Soto and a sac fly by Marte to go with the 2-run Alonso homer. The only runs the Mets have had all game, and the only runs this game so far. Ball one. Nimmo hit a walk, flew out to right, and got it in. Walked in the first, only get picked off on a lineup. Cut down a line-out double play. Flew out in the fourth and hit a double in the sixth to drive in one. Ball two. Looks like Crank is going to get a chance for a 6-out save. He'll face Springer. He'll face Kirk, Springer, and Wagner. It's not going to be an easy task. 2-0 pitch to Nimmo. Just catches the outside edge, 2-1. But he gave up 3 runs in the process. 2-2, swing and a miss, 2-2. 2-1, swing and a miss, 2-2. By contrast, the Mets have been a lot more disciplined at the plate today. Tyler McGill, 4 strikeouts, 5 in the third, 2 hits, 3 walks. Ray Garrett, 2 strikeouts. AJ Minter struck at the side. Kranek struck out 1. Here's the 2-2. Didn't go. Full count. A trio of doubles and a homer, as I mentioned. Here's the payoff. Gonna slow grounder the second. Scooped up by Jimenez. He'll throw to Guerrero. We go to the 9th. Mets 5, Toronto, and the Blue Jays nothing. Almost 3 hours since I started this call. Yeah, that Dodgers rotation is fucking valid, and it's a fucking nightmare to face. And you think you can beat them in pitching? That is one of the most disciplined lineups at the plate. You got to deal with Freddie. You got to deal with Mookie, Scooter, Edman, Chaos, KO, Max, and of course, Ohtani-san. And that's not to say when Ohtani is able to pitch again. Doge and Trump found something incredible. The world find out soon. Deep state panic in BC. Trump unveils first gold card visa liberation days passed, and the fake news and economists are pushing to blue. Lower rates, low inflation, jobs, low energy. The Fed is trapped. Economic is going to boom. The window closing for central bank. State banking does sharpen how money laundering scheme works. Who's getting kickbacks? How they're overthrew the government. Trump made an announcement. Doge found something incredible. This could be how they use Social Security numbers to cheat elections, or is about the kickback or something else. First pitch is a ball from Kranek to Kirk, or second pitch, 1-1. Ball 2. When they shut out Atlanta. Yeah, 2020 doesn't count. Kirk's hammers 1 to third. Bianco sets his feet. He scoots up, sets his feet, fires the first, 1 down. At least Bianco has gotten his defensive mechanics working again. Springer has half of the Blue Jay hits today. Now faces Kranek. A triple and a single. He takes a cut, fouls it into the glove. 1-0-1 on a split finger. On a slider. But of course, in both instances, Springer didn't get home. First 0-1 pitch. Big cut and he misses. 0-2. That slider just rode up and out, and he chased it. Oh, 2 pitch. just missed 1 and 2. One, two. Too high, 2 and 2. Again, as long as it doesn't rain. Or at least doesn't rain hard enough to where the games have to get skipped. That's fouled off. Out. 2-2. Full counts. So after going 0-2 through the Springer, he's now given up 3 straight balls. Payoff pitch on the way. Line drive caught by Lindor, 2 down. Looking for their first shutout of the year, bounced into the dirt, 1-0 to Will Wagner. Wagner walked in his first at bat in the second, which led to a runners on the corner situation for the Jays, but nothing came of it. And then he struck out twice. 1-0, takes one up and out, strike one. 1-1. That's popped up. Acuna, Lindor calls Acuna off. Game over. Mets win 5-0. Stand up, New York Mets fans. And the Mets get their home opener. Tyler McGill gets the win. Kevin Gausman loses. No save decision. And Mets have their first 2-game winning streak of the year. They go to 4-3. Blue Jays fall to 5-3. So far, so good as far as I'm concerned with the Mets. But we still got a good ways to go. There's still 155 games left. Thanks to everyone who bothered to show up to this little impromptu stream. And I put emphasis on calling this rather impromptu. Comment, like, share, and subscribe to myself and the other members of the ABSN. Goodbye and good fucking night. Bang.